now it's just that
the long cooldown.
It's just such a long cooldown, and a lot of the times you see the chaotic offering maybe setting up 1 kill, maybe 2. But as long as it's like a somewhat even trade, the enemy team can just take full advantage of it, because Warlock a lot of the times just really weak without the ult.
If you don't take a tower, it feels like it's not worth dropping the golem. That's how I feel about it. Like, if once you drop the golem, you commit, you have to get an objective. If you don't get an objective, you must make sure you get a lot of kills, which sometimes doesn't happen. You drop it for a key kill on the carry, and you don't get an objective. It feels like it's not worth it at the end of the day.
That's what I feel like. Instead, they'd go for what could kind of fill those shoes, but be a safer pick in like a DK, being able to utilize his ultimate to get objectives and take fights, whereas Warlock could be a bit too spicy.
Right. But at the same time, I guess it also depends, right? Are you already up a game? Do you want to go strong in the very first game?
But the Dragon Knight, it feels like Dragon Knight is weak in the lane, though. So I mentioned a lot of it will come down to their mid play. Whoever gets the better start in the mid lane, and Dragon Knight is weaker at the start, so it might actually play to the fact that giving the opponent a better lane, like better lane matchup, let's say Queen of Pain versus Dragon Knight, it will allow maybe G to have a better start and then snowball his team like into a much stronger mid game. So I feel Dragon Knight has his merits, but at the same time he's weak. He's weaker, a lot weaker at the start in the lane. So there's still a negative part of the pick itself.
Right. I mean, because you guys are mentioning, well, it's probably going to be an action-packed game anyway. At that point, in some ways, the lane phase could matter more, because whoever's going to be a little bit ahead can start just taking charge and taking initiative and causing those actions to happen, and the snowball could start rolling very early on for sure. Now, going in then, both teams are already in the lobby. Now, one last question from my end, just something curious. How worth it is it to, if you had, let's assume that both teams have just one strategy, they were like, we're going to save this till we absolutely need it, or like, let's say it's like the finals and 1 game away from the championship. This is what that was saved for. How worth it is it to bring something out like that to get into the upper bracket?
This is like a $200,000 game, right? So
yeah.
There you go.
So
Grand final for a $200,000 tournament happening right now.
There you go.
I would say it's worth it.
That's a pretty simple answer. Yeah, definitely a lot on the line. I mean, when we just keep saying upper bracket, lower bracket, it can just sound like, oh, second chance.
When you put the numbers in it, then it feels serious.
Yeah.
Playing a best-of-1 elimination match is super scary. I think it's of course, there's the prize money, and there's the fact that you get the second life, but it's just as much that the life you get should you lose in the winner bracket. It's still a life you would rather have than the first round life.
Right.
Best of ones will be a lot about, like, you'll be really scared going into the series, because you'll be like, you can't ever prepare fully for a team's best of one. Have like a crazy strat they've just saved and they